Hello, it is Foundation Friday, July 9th, 2021. Steve Sipress here, out here just a few minutes and already sweating profusely in this, I don't know, about 110-degree weather out here, and beautiful, way too hot, and normally way too sunny. Southern Arizona today, uncharacteristically humid and a cloud-filled sky. But let's get right to it. Another in our multi-part series on the fantastic book, The Magic of Thinking Big, by Dr. David J. Schwartz. And today we're talking about managing your memory in order to boost your self-confidence. Dr. Schwartz teaches us that your brain is very much like a bank. Every day you make thought deposits into your mind bank, and every day these thought deposits grow and become your memory. When you settle down to think, or when you face a problem, in effect, you say to your memory bank, "What do I already know about this?" And your memory bank automatically answers and supplies you with bits of information relating to this situation that you deposited on previous occasions. So your memory is the basic supplier of raw material for your new thought. Now here's the key. The teller in your memory bank, to continue the analogy here, is tremendously reliable. He never crosses you up. So if you ask your memory bank for positive memories, the teller will bring you positive memories. And if you ask for validation of why you can't do something, or why this is terrible, well, then your memory bank will give you negative memories. So here are two specific things to do to build confidence by efficiently managing your memory bank. Number one, deposit only positive thoughts into your memory bank. Let's face it, says Dr. Schwartz, everyone encounters plenty of unpleasant, embarrassing, and discouraging situations, but successful and unsuccessful people, as I flip the page one-handed, always an issue, and I flipped it too many pages here. Hang on. There we go. Successful and unsuccessful people deal with these situations directly opposite. Unsuccessful people dwell on the unpleasant situations, and thereby they have a good start on those in their memory, and they don't take their minds away from them. At night, the unpleasant situation is still the last thing they're thinking about. Confident, successful people, on the other hand, don't give it another thought. Successful people specialize in putting positive thoughts into their memory banks. Give an example. I once saw an interview with now Hall of Fame defensive football player Deion Sanders, whose job it was to cover the very best wide receiver on every team that his team was playing. So he always had to cover pretty much another Hall of Fame type of talent, the fastest, biggest, strongest, best receiver there was. And he made the Hall of Fame. So spoiler alert, he did a pretty good job. But there was one interview I remember. It was before a game where they had played this team before earlier in the season, and the star receiver on the other team had beaten Deion Sanders twice for 2 touchdowns in that game a few weeks before. And the announcer asked him something about like, well, you know, that receiver that you're covering tomorrow, he beat you for 2 touchdowns the last time, so what are you going to do different this time or whatever? And paraphrasing, of course, but Deion Sanders' response was like, no, he didn't. He just argued with the journalist, with the sports reporter, who clearly knew the fact was that that receiver had beaten him for 2 touchdowns. And the reporter was kind of startled at the response of like, no, he didn't. And he was like, well, yeah, he did. Everyone knows that. He's like, I don't remember that. I have no memory of that whatsoever. Next question. Okay, so you know, some skeptical negative person might think, oh, well, he's just lying, or what a terrible memory, or what a fool, or what an idiot, or see, all football players are stupid. He doesn't even remember what happened a few weeks before when the whole world remembers that, and it was all over everywhere, and it made the highlight reel, and it was the most incredible thing that happened in the last few weeks in football, that future Hall of Fame defensive back Deion Sanders was beaten for 2 touchdowns in one game by the same guy. And he just goes, no, it never happened, don't remember it. The fact is, he was practicing what Dr. David J. Schwartz is teaching us today. He was managing his memory bank properly. He did not deposit those negative thoughts into his memory, so they just weren't there. Now, can you be that good at it? If so, maybe you'll be a Hall of Famer in your life, as Deion Sanders is in his. So do this, suggest Dr. Schwartz, to help you out. In the moments when you're alone with your thoughts, driving in your car, eating alone, taking a shower, whatever it is, recall pleasant, positive experiences and put good thoughts into your memory bank. This will boost your confidence. It will give you that I sure feel good feeling. It will help keep your body functioning right too. So just before you go to sleep, deposit good thoughts into your memory bank. Count your blessings. Recall the many good things you have to be thankful for. Your spouse, your children, your friends, your health, any kind of success at all. Recall the good things you saw people do that day. Recall your little victories and your accomplishments. Go over the reasons why you were glad to be alive. Number 2, withdraw only positive thoughts from your memory bank. So now you might be saying, well, if you only put in positive thoughts, then of course you can only withdraw positive thoughts. But before this exercise, most people have deposited plenty of negative thoughts into their memory banks. So now Dr. Schwartz is just saying, even if you deposit them there, just never withdraw them. The saying is, a person can make a mental monster out of almost any unpleasant happening. Dr. Schwartz tells another psychologist friend told him, a job failure, a jilted romance, a bad investment, disappointment in the behavior of a teenage child. All of these are common monsters I have to help troubled people destroy. It is clear that any negative thought, if fertilized with repeated recall, can develop into a real mind monster, breaking down confidence and paving the way to serious psychological difficulties. So bottom line, put only positive memories into your memory bank and recall only positive memories out of your memory bank. Never ask bad questions like, why do I suck at this? And how come I can never do that? And, why can that person do it and I can't? Stop. I can't even come up with them because I just don't ask those kind of negative questions myself. So since reading this book about 30 years ago, before that, believe me, I was about as negative as it gets. Man, I've told the story before. I was so negative that when I first read this book that a friend thankfully handed it to me, knowing how badly I needed it, I started reading it. I was so angry with this book, I threw it across the room. I'm like, how dare this guy call me a loser, call me a little person, call me negative, how dare? And then I was like, holy crap, get a hold of yourself. You're yelling in an empty room. You threw a book across the room. Like, yeah, there's a problem here. You're thinking pretty small, and I corrected my behavior thanks to this book. Hopefully you do too. We'll end on this note. Dr. Schwartz tells us here is something very significant and very encouraging. The fact is that your mind wants you to forget the unpleasant. Studies have shown that the mind wants to forget unpleasant memories. So when a feeling is pleasant in an ad, the ad has a better chance to be remembered. And when an unpleasant feeling is aroused in an ad, the reader or listener tends to forget the advertising message. The unpleasant runs counter to what we want. We don't want to remember it. So do yourself a favor and work with your mind. Give your mind what it wants. Deposit positive thoughts into your mind and forget the negative thoughts. You take a big step forward toward conquering fear when you refuse to remember negative, self-deprecating thoughts. And that'll do it for this week's episode on the magic of thinking big by Dr. David J. Schwartz. We'll have another in our multi-part series next Foundation Friday. And before then, I'll be back here tomorrow on Social Media Saturday. Enjoy your weekend wherever you are. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Over and out. Bye-bye.